How can we know the secrets of the elites?
Oh.
If you can find out what they're doing, you can align your lifestyle and you're doing what they're doing, then potentially you can be like them.
Yes.
Right? That's the whole allure of the secret. But I kind of realized there's a much easier and faster way to get to the secrets of the elites.
Really?
And it's by reading the letters that they pass to their children. We're not just talking about the current elites, but we're looking at elites all across history. The wisest, the bravest, the most philosophical, the most noble, the most charitable. What are some of their advice? All of them are contained in letters, in books. And so if we could just tap into that, to true wisdom, I don't think you need to tap into Harvard or Yale or Stanford or to any of the elite colleges or these institutions. Reading the letters from parent to children from these elite figures, you can tap into the best.
Where can I find these letters?
Online, it's free. You can download all of them, right? But of all the books that I like to read, I really enjoy reading letters, right? Especially if you know somebody's character. Like for me, I love C.S. Lewis. Not only do I read the major classic collection, I read almost every single thing that he's ever written, including all of his letters from his entire lifetime.
Wow.
And I found more truth and value from those letters than his classic works. Dealing with loss, grief, planning for the future, dealing with the divorce, how he comforts them, his insight, and the way he's able to so compassionately help people. That was so beautiful.
It's a shame we don't really write letters anymore.
Well, this whole Better series, episode 1 through 5, is really one big letter to my kid, right? Because it was born from me holding him when he's less than 1 year old and he's just crying at night. And I'm thinking, well, how can I impart everything that I've learned from my many years of travel and all my learning? Well, I want him to have a better life. I want him to learn all the things that I have. So I'm kind of boiling all the techniques that I've learned to this episode so he could just watch this and learn everything. How do you gain a sense of control in this world that you feel like is spinning out of control?
I don't know. Like, my first thought is like all the unhealthy ways, controlling your eating in an obsessive, like that's a really small way when you do feel out of control in your life. And like, okay, well, at least I can control what I put in my body. But control in a healthy sense of control, I feel like is harder to come by.
I feel like when people's life, something unexpected happens that they couldn't control, that they didn't expect, then they double down on the one thing or two things that they're good at. And sometimes that actually makes the situation worse.
Right.
You focus too much on your job and you start to expect your coworkers and your colleagues to do the same, and then you actually turn them away, and then you have a poor relationship at work. Here's a thought experiment, right? That Seneca, not even a thought experiment. Seneca actually did this and he wants people to do it, right? So he's a Stoic philosopher, and every so often, I think once a year, he actually strips himself of all pleasures, right? And so he kind of goes outside, he sleeps in the cold, he kind of like, I guess, camps, he eats very little, he fasts, and in that state, he learns, and he recommends his Stoic philosopher peers to learn that in life, you actually don't need that much. I had the same feeling when I was hiking. It's like you've hiked for 10 miles, you're in the wild, and you have so much beauty around you, and they don't care at all about any of your cares. This beauty exists outside, and all your cares doesn't match anything about how beautiful it is outside. That's one thing. Second thing is, and also right now, all you care is to sit down and eat and drink, right? That's all you really want after hiking 10 miles. A little bit of water, doesn't even have to be ice water. And a cracker, a salty cracker, and you're so happy. And so much of life boils down to such a basic necessity. So being out in the wilderness, being on the great outdoors, gives you so much perspective. And I think when life spins out of control, instead of doubling down and focusing on the one thing that you're good at, maybe try to control all the little things around your life that you, and just instead of one thing, you kind of spread it around. The finances, go to outdoors, maintain your health, because if everything else is in order, maybe this one thing that you didn't expect will lose its impact.
It kind of reminds me, which in California we have a lot of these, but like, you know how buildings in California are built for earthquakes,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not like an engineer, but my understanding is that they're built with a certain amount of like movement, almost where there's movement built into it. Buildings are built to sway, right? Not that they're not strong, but that's actually built into like the foundation,
Right.
is made for that movement. So it's kind of what you're saying, it reminds me like starting with the basic stuff so that our lives
Right.
our lives are built to accommodate some of that natural sway. Not everything needs to be 100% in order 100% of the time for me to feel okay. Like I can be stretched thin, I can be pulled up, I can be, you know, I play with like silly putty all the time. I do that with silly putty a lot, but like that visual of like I can move and I can shape and I can change, but I'm still me and I'm still safe and whole and healthy and all those sorts of things. I don't need to look like I look right now to still move on in the future and be whole.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
You know, silly putty.
Yeah. What's a better way to be well-rounded? To just go and learn everything?
Right. I'm very much a list person, so I'm like, yeah, I definitely do the first one of like make a list, which I've done on multiple occasions. Make a list of everything I want to do and do it.
Right, right. And power through it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But the thing is, the thing about being well-rounded is sometimes you want to learn something that's not even on your radar. I think, and this is from my experience, and a lot of my friends who are extremely well-rounded, like they're just a repertoire of all this different knowledge. They have an endless amount of curiosity, but they're not like just randomly learning.
Right.
What I found a common denominator in all of them is that whenever they meet people or whenever they encounter something, they're always learning more about that person. So, for example, when they meet an elementary school teacher, they are constantly interacting with children and parents and seeing and learning what mankind is like in that little cosmos.
Yeah.
And so they learn so much about like human nature from these school teachers. Another example is how to learn how to read body languages from an FBI agent because they are trained to do that.
I think it tells you so much.
I pointed one way while his eyes were pointed another.
What happens when you're lying? Your mind's working so hard to make stuff up that your body can't keep in sync.
So one quick way to become very well-rounded is to look at all your friends and family, all their strengths and all their unique insights and tap into that.
Yeah.
And sometimes the most boring person that you can possibly meet and imagine, they might have something that's very interesting that nobody else sees.
Holy crap. Abed, I see your value now.
Everybody has something to teach you, essentially. So if you are just curious and humble enough to learn from everyone, they might be a 10-year-old, they might be a 15-year-old, they might be an 80-year-old. They hold a whole bunch of prejudice that you don't think is true, but nonetheless, they could see the world in a way that you don't see. And from there, you can learn so much.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that comes from being really comfortable talking with other people about their lives. And I guess along with that, maybe, like you're saying, extroverts, but people who also have the skill or the ability to make others feel like they're safe to open up.
Yeah,
You know,
most people love talking about themselves. So if you're willing to talk to them about them, but asking the right questions and being curious, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess one shortcut to being well-rounded is being curious and then finding the ordinary people around you, and you have so much insight. Let's talk about the lies of wealth.
Oh.
Some of the lies in trying to pursue wealth is that you actually don't end up needing, wanting that much or using that much. Right now, a lot of young people are chasing the newest iPhone and they just dream that they can have the newest iPhone every single year.
Right.
$1,000 iPhone and then a $1,500 iPhone and then maybe a $2,000 iPhone. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm rich, I would be able to do that every single year. Some of my richest clients they dread getting a new phone every year because it works well, it's fine, and to get a new phone, they have to set everything up, it wastes their time.
Erase. 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 Erase all pictures of Ron. Erase all pictures of Ron.
The bigger their house, the more there is to clean, the more to stuff that you have to buy. It's a nightmare to start buying things after a certain income, right? You want to just enjoy what you have.
Yeah.
So one of the big lies is that wealth, infinite wealth, you can't really even enjoy it. It's not useful to you to improve your lifestyle. Sure, you can do charity, you can give your friends and family, everybody gets a new phone. Sure, right? You spread it around, great. But for your personal enjoyment, beyond middle class, there's not all that much more. If you're not into deep sea fishing, you're not gonna buy a yacht.
Right.
What kind of lifestyle do you really wanna live? And what would an extra $10 million do for that, right? If you really like to read, are you gonna just buy a really old book and read all the old versions of it? No, you're right. You're still gonna probably use your Amazon Kindle. So like having more money doesn't actually help you in that endeavor. Right? You could drink expensive tea, but you know a normal tea is also pretty good, right?
Right.
Just not Lipton, right? So like it really, wealth doesn't actually change your lifestyle all that much after a certain point.
Yeah.
That is one of the big lies, which just makes you realize when you're pursuing wealth, if you're sacrificing everything in your life to pursue wealth, believing that more wealth will make your life better, that's a lie.
Yeah, and it's not like your creature comforts like adapt to, you know, like they're, if it's not, like if it's a $5,000 sweater,
right,
that's great,
right,
but like if it's not comfortable, I'm not gonna wear it.
When you realize, you know, time is the biggest factor, right? And so, you know, yes, you can afford anyone in the world for a dentist, but you know, this guy is just, you know, a block from you and you can go and you get your teeth cleaned and it's just fine. So convenience, a good quality person, that's really what you're looking for.
Totally.
So if you don't enjoy your current things in pursuit of this imaginary luxury, and then somehow when you reach there, you realize you don't actually want it, you want to go back, but you already lost all these years, right? And that's the saddest thing. And that's it for our last episode for season 3. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.